In today's video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to use a variety of charcoal tools and techniques to create a variety of expressive and nuanced mark making in your charcoal portrait drawings. This is a sneak peek into my latest charcoal drawing course called Emma, in which we explore the full range of charcoal's potential. From loose powdery swaths that block in broad shapes and shadows, to the refined precision of charcoal and carbon pencils, each of which have its own intensity of black. We'll look at how each tool has its own unique purpose. We'll also bring in brushes, kneaded erasers, rags, and blending tools in order to blend our edges, lift our highlights, and create a rich, layered portrait. So let's dive in and see how these materials work together to bring depth and dimension into your drawings. When I start my drawing and I'm establishing my construct on my good paper, I like to use a very sharp, hard carbon pencil, usually a B pencil. I want to keep it light and I want to keep things accurate. So the carbon pencils are the hardest and the lightest of all the charcoal type drawing tools. So that's what I always start with. I also use carbon pencils when I'm trying to work up very delicate details as well and keep my tonal values very light. I use this pencil to establish an accurate underdrawing so that I can build the rest of my finished drawing on top of it. But it's still light enough for me to make changes and not interfere with a lot of the development that I'm going to be doing as I work on the drawing later on. I can also use my erasers as drawing tools as well. One of the erasers I use is called a mono eraser. It's a small polymer eraser which is shaped into a lead and then put into a pencil-like tool, and you can use it to remove stubborn lines or something in a very, very small little area that you need to get in there with precision. It's a really great tool, but you have to use it judiciously as it can really rub and shred the paper if you use it too much. The second eraser I use all the time as a drawing tool is a kneaded eraser. It's a small piece of putty that can be shaped into just about any shape, and you can use it to pick up your medium and manipulate it in order to create highlights, edges, soften the general look of something. It's very, very versatile and it's a great working tool. I can also take a very soft drawing or painting rag and use it to simply soften everything down where I'm working in a particular area. In this case, I'm putting it all over. I just want to cut everything back, but it makes for exactly that, a very soft look and blends everything together. The kind of cloth I use are usually old t-shirts or camisoles that I have that are very soft cotton that have been washed a million times, and they're very, very soft. When I'm finished with them, I just cut them up and use them as rags in my studio, and they're very effective. Once I have my initial underdrawing done, which will serve as a guide to build my finished drawing, I want to lay some darker values in order to establish where my lights and darks are going to be in the drawing, and I want to do it loosely and lightly. So I use a little tool called a pounce, and it's a small piece of cloth that's semi-porous. I usually use the heel of an old thin sock, and I fill it with powdered charcoal, put an elastic band around, and then I have a little pouch, which I can then use as like a powder puff to apply the charcoal and then move it around, giving it energy and direction and laying a value base to start the drawing off with. I can continue to use this pounce throughout the drawing if I want to build up my values, blend, or add some dynamic energy to the drawing. I can also use a large, soft blending brush and dip it into loose charcoal and then apply it to the drawing and blend it in that way. It also allows for dynamic energy and a really nice buildup of darks, particularly at the beginning, but it can be used to blend anytime throughout the drawing process. As I continue with the drawing to build up very careful marks and careful drawing, I use my carbon pencils. They also come in a range of intensity and hard and softness, anywhere from a B to a 6B. The B is hard and lighter, the 6B is
dark and crumbly, and it allows you to modify your range of values and also get different mark making quality to them. Some are very fine and some are loose and chalky. But I use the carbon pencils for a lot of very careful drawing, and I use my charcoal pencils for building up a lot of really dark darks and interesting line quality. When I'm developing the drawing, I use my carbon pencils for very careful and delicate drawing. Whether it's at the beginning when I'm trying to shape a feature or whether I'm trying to develop a range of values, that's for the very delicate work. These pencils are harder. They have a wider range of value. They come in a B to a 6B, which means they can either be very hard and light or very soft and crumbly, and I can get in there and do very delicate work. I like to use my charcoal pencils when I'm trying to really build up some blacks and I want some interesting line quality. They're both pencils, but they have different characteristics which work well for different parts of the drawing and whatever effect you're trying to achieve. As I start developing the drawing, I also start using a variety of brushes. So I've used the bigger brushes to lay large swaths of value down, but I use very small, little delicate brushes to work out blending in very tight little areas. I then also use my medium brush, which is very, very soft, in order to blend the overall area in terms of forms on the face, edges, all that sort of thing, simply as a blending and softening tool. I can also go back in with my kneaded eraser, and I can use it for a number of different things, but I can use it to soften edges. I can manipulate the shape of the eraser and turn it into what I call an anti-pencil, making a little sharp tip and picking little bits of the charcoal back off the paper. I can make like a knife's edge and then create a very clean edge on my image as well. Or I can flatten it out like a little tongue and then pick the medium back off in order to soften and lighten areas. It has all kinds of applications, and it's a wonderful drawing tool that gives you a lot of flexibility and a variety of mark making. Well, I hope seeing these different tools in action at various points in the drawing has helped. It's a little bit like cooking. A little pinch here and a little pinch there, and there's a sequence to getting things done from beginning to end and knowing when to use the tools and when to use the right ingredients as the process evolves. So, experiment with your different tools, the different mark making, and the key is really about building your drawing up in layers.
Thanks so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this look into charcoal techniques, I invite you to check out my entire charcoal portrait drawing course called Emma, which is available now on Patreon. And you can find that link at the end of this video. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss another tutorial. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I do answer any questions that are in the comments section. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And in the meantime, stay creative. This is your time to express yourself.